Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Kieran and today we'll be discussing what's been referred to as the 8 communication commandments. Now, this isn't my concept, this is something that was brought about in a book called Achievement Habit by Burden Roth. Again, something I'd highly recommend you all to read, and it's great not only for developing your communicational skills but also personal development as a whole. Now, in today's world where virtual is the norm, it's all the more important not only what you say but how you say it. There's less of an onus on your body language and your interpersonal skills, but more on your tone of voice, your inflections, and also your listening skills. Now, that's not to underplay how important those skills are in a person to person environment. What it is showing, though, that in this world, you need to be even more conscious than you already were about how you're communicating your message. So I'll be running you through these 8 commandments, but also giving you a little bit further detail of why and how you can best implement this in your own careers. The first of which is speaking for yourself. Anytime you're discussing or communicating, you should always be making I statements. Talking about, say, I feel this, I think this, rather than speaking for a whole group. This one requires a bit of subtlety. It's true that in a lot of sales environments, you want to talk about the concept of we and speaking as a collective. However, when you're discussing an opinion, you should always be speaking for yourself as to not misrepresent someone else within your group. Second is very simple, but don't be judgmental. A lot of the time, people can say a statement and then immediately have an emotional reaction. The trick is to catch yourself. How has that statement made me feel? Headlines and media are particularly key. Even clickbait on YouTube, you find yourself having an emotion reaction. Anytime that you find this, you need to, one, research that point further, but also you need to be cognizant of that reaction. Question yourself, why do I feel this way? And listen that much more acutely when you feel that it's going to have a significant impact on your circle of influence. The third is acknowledging other people's issues. I've referenced the book Chris Voss Never Split the Difference before, and here he uses a really useful technique called labeling. So anytime someone's upset, it's really useful to actually label, say, it looks like you're upset. Just that mere acknowledgement makes someone feel so much more comfortable, and it makes someone far more likely to open up to you about a certain point, and so you can actually drill down and find the cause of that problem. You're more likely to communicate and actually resolve it. The fourth point actually ties quite well with the first commandment, and that's not to use why questions when you're communicating with someone. You should always aim to use declarative statements rather than why. If someone makes a statement and your first response is why, they're going to feel attacked. They're not going to feel in control and they're going to go into defense mode. That makes the communication that much more difficult because any sense of rapport or openness will have been hindered. So it's really important that when you are responding to someone, you should be making statements of your own, saying like, I agree with that, I don't agree with that because, rather than going out and asking why. Fifth, this will be a common theme on this channel when we're discussing communication and negotiation, and that's active listening. It's all too common that people, when they're listening, will just be taking that time to create their own response. Whereas when you're communicating, you really actually have to understand what they're saying and the intent behind that statement. Commandment number 6 is making the point of your story clear. Now, it's true that storytelling is a fantastic tool for communication when used effectively. However, if you're telling a long-winded story and the point of it isn't clear, people are going to feel confused and you're going to lose their interest. So anytime that you do tell a story, make sure you clarify the intent behind it and relate it back to the points that you're trying to make in the first place. Commandment number 7 is making sure you understand what's being communicated to you. This goes a long way in professional environments. If a manager asks you to perform a certain task, you respond, yes, no problem, then come back half an hour later asking to re-clarify that you haven't understood the ask properly. An improvement on this would be asking at the point at which the manager asks you, drilling down into the ask, making sure you understand every aspect before accepting it and proceeding to try and solve that problem. So make sure that you understand what's being communicated to you at source for maximum effectiveness. And commandment number 8 directly replies to this, and make sure that when you're communicating, make sure that you are also understood. If you're presenting to a group and people are questioning what was the point of that, why have I just sat around this listening for half an hour, then you failed as a communicator. You need to make sure that everyone understands exactly what you're talking about. If you have any doubt on how to do this, make sure you watch a few TED Talks. People will loop back and repeat throughout their talk what the points of their stories are and why it's important to you. If you do want to explore this further, again, I'd highly recommend the book The Achievement Habit by Bernard Roth. Hopefully over the course of this video I've managed to explain the significance of these commandments and how to use them in a professional environment. And of course, if you did find it at all useful, please remember to like this video. So, I've gained quite a number of subscribers this week, so it's great to see. I encourage you all to hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, comment below, and I look forward to speaking with you next time.